Today, we're talking about energy, but not the kind you get from a double espresso. We're talking about building sustainable energy from the ground up. What if you could actually be the architect of your own energy? Well, let's dive in.
You know the feeling, right? That afternoon slump hits, you grab a coffee, maybe a sugary snack, and you get that little lift. But what's really going on there? You're basically taking out a high-interest loan on your future energy. You're just borrowing it. And that crash that comes later? Well, that's the payback. And it is inevitable.
But what if there was a totally different way to go about this? Instead of just prodding your nervous system with stimulants, what if you could actually upgrade your body's own energy production factory? That is exactly where Cordyceps comes into the picture. We're talking about building bigger, better cellular engines for clean, all-day power.
Now, Cordyceps isn't some brand new supplement cooked up in a lab. Oh no, this is a legendary natural compound, and its history is just as wild as its biology. It's an ancient performance secret that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries.
I mean, the story behind this stuff is just incredible. It all starts thousands of feet up in the Himalayas. Yak herders started noticing that their animals got this serious boost of energy and, well, virility after grazing on this weird-looking fungus. From there, it became this prized tonic, so valuable it was reserved only for the emperor's court in China. But it really burst onto the world stage in 1993. A team of Chinese runners didn't just break world records, they absolutely shattered them. And what do they credit their success to? A Cordyceps regimen. That's when the rest of the world really started paying attention.
So how in the world does it work? It's not about giving you the jitters or making your heart race. Cordyceps operates on a much, much deeper level. Let's get into the science of how it actually builds energy instead of just borrowing it.
Okay, to get Cordyceps, you first have to understand something called ATP. That's adenosine triphosphate. Just think of ATP as the literal gasoline for your cells. It's the universal energy currency that powers every single thing you do, from flexing a muscle to thinking a thought. So, pretty simple. More ATP means more raw power.
So here's how Cordyceps gives your entire system this awesome three-part upgrade. First, it literally provides your body with adenosine, which is a key building block for making more ATP. Second, it helps your body get way more efficient at producing and recycling that ATP. And third, it helps clear out the metabolic junk, like lactic acid. So what does that actually mean for you? Less muscle burn during a tough workout and way faster recovery after. You get more fuel, a better engine, and a faster cleanup crew. And that brings us to another key metric, VO2 max. Put simply, this is just a measure of how good your body is at taking oxygen in and putting it to use when you're working hard. A higher VO2 max is kind of the holy grail for anyone into endurance. It directly translates to better stamina. It's your ability to push harder for longer.
So where does Cordyceps fit in here? Well, one of its key compounds, cordycepin, acts as what's called a bronchodilator. It basically helps relax and open up your airways, which lets you pull in more oxygen with every single breath. More oxygen in the lungs means more oxygen gets to your muscles, and that physically raises your performance ceiling. It's that feeling of suddenly having an extra gear right when you need it most.
Okay, so we've got the history, we've got the science, that's great. But how do you actually use it to get results? Let's get into a really practical user guide for getting the most out of Cordyceps. All right, trying to buy this stuff can be confusing. I get it. You're going to see two main types out there, CS4 and Cordyceps militaris. Now CS4, that's an older lab-grown mycelium version, but the one you really want to look for is Cordyceps militaris. And why is that? Because it's grown as a full fruiting body, which means it has way higher levels of that key active compound, cordycepin. It's the more potent, more effective choice, plain and simple.
But even after you pick the right species, you gotta watch out for quality. A ton of products out there are what's called mycelium on grain. And honestly, that's mostly just useless starch filler. You're buying the grain it was grown on, not the mushroom. So here's what to look for. 100% fruiting body. You see that on the label? You're on the right track. Even better is a dual extract, which means they've pulled out all the good stuff. And here's the kicker. A good brand will tell you the percentage of active compounds, especially cordycepin.
So what percentage should you be looking for? Well, a really potent, high-quality extract is going to be standardized to contain at least 0.1% to 1% cordycepin. If the label doesn't mention that number, you really have no idea if you're getting a product that's going to do anything at all. Think of this number as your quality benchmark.
All right, let's talk about how to actually take it. First off, timing is key.
Because it's energizing, you want to take it in the morning or maybe 30 to 60 minutes before you work out. You definitely want to avoid taking it late in the evening because it could mess with your sleep. And maybe most importantly, you have to be consistent. You might feel that oxygen boost right away, but the real deep cellular benefits, those build up over 2 to 3 weeks of using it every day. Now, you want to take things to the next level? Here's a little pro tip for you. Try combining Cordyceps with coenzyme Q10. Think of it like this. Cordyceps helps your body produce more ATP. That's the fuel. CoQ10 helps the mitochondria, your little cellular power plants, use that fuel more efficiently. You put them together, and it's pretty much the ultimate 1-2 punch for maximizing cellular energy.
Okay, so let's pull all this together. We're going to do a quick recap of the core benefits, go over some really important safety notes, and then figure out what to do next with this powerful tool.
When you look at the benefits all together, they're really impressive. You're talking about enhanced athletic performance and stamina, real actual support for people struggling with burnout and chronic fatigue, improved lung function, and, yes, a boost to libido and hormonal vitality, which, hey, brings us right back to those Himalayan yaks, right? It's a true all-around performance tonic.
So what's a good dose to start with? For a standard dual extract powder, the effective daily dose is usually somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 milligrams. For most people, that's a fantastic starting point to start seeing some real, tangible results.
Now, this is super important. Let's talk safety. Cordyceps is generally very, very safe, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Because it can stimulate the immune system, you should definitely talk to your doctor first if you have an autoimmune condition. It also has some mild blood thinning effects, so you want to avoid it if you're on anticoagulants. And, if you're that person who gets really jittery from 1 cup of coffee, start slow with this, because it can feel similarly energizing.
If you take away just one single thing about how to use Cordyceps, please let it be this. The biggest mistake people make is taking it here and there and expecting some kind of magic bullet. It just doesn't work like that. The real foundational benefits to your energy systems are cumulative. Consistency is everything.
So that really brings us to you. Now that you've heard all this, how would you use it? Are you thinking more for that pre-workout boost to just crush a session at the gym? Or are you thinking more as a daily driver to fight off fatigue and build a stronger energy foundation for the long haul?
I really hope this gave you a clear roadmap for understanding and using Cordyceps. Next time, we're going to shift gears from building energy to managing stress as we explore ashwagandha and the science of how you can literally help your body turn off its stress response. You are not going to want to miss that one. See you then.